Uh, Good evening, friends. This is the first time we are meeting, and I will be now taking the classes on different topics which you will be really enjoying. And we shall be talking about mainly on ethics, integrity, fortitude, and all those things, which are very important for the examination. You might be knowing that for civil services examination, this is one of the most important paper. And whenever we are preparing for this paper, the most important thing which comes in anyone's mind is to how to score good marks. Because what happens in this paper, there are 40 marks if we divide it in sectors, and ultimately the GS4 paper, that is General Studies paper, General Studies 4, it is constituting of 250 marks, plus always invariably there is one very important essay. So in all we can say that it is consisting of 400 marks. So it is a paper which is having the maximum weightage whenever we are preparing for civil services examination. Now the issue is that why I'm going directly to one class rather than teaching you or telling you how to prepare it, how to go about it. You know, this Unacademy platform is a very unique platform. And on this platform, whenever we are talking about any subject, then it gives you a great depth. And just to give that flavor, how intensive the courses are in Unacademy Plus platform or Unacademy platform, then it is very important to tell you initially what the subject is and how it will be taught in the classes. So let us see how does it happen in Unacademy Plus or Unacademy free platforms. And this is the point, this is the place where you will learn this particular subject with a lot of intensity and a lot of involvement. Right? So that is the point which has to be remembered very closely. Now let us come down to next slide. Uh, Before going into the details, I would like to tell you what my experience and why I am teaching this subject and why I am involved in this teaching. I am basically Rakesh Verma, and I did my MA Economics, I did my BTech, I did my MBA, and joined IAS in 1981. And I have a lot of experience of working with people. Throughout my career, I have worked with people, dealt with them, and this has been my passion to work for the poor, the people who are needy and who are in difficult situations. And this service has given me a great opportunity. And the experiences which I have gathered in this service, that's what I would like to tell you. And that's what I would like to apprise of. So this will be a very intensive mixture of what the theory is and how my experiences they directly get attached to it, and how we make the interpretation of theory invariably in a manner which can be understood very quickly. And this is the way I generally teach one class to the poors, which is the satellite class, and I love this class. All the students are from government colleges, government schools, and they are preparing for different competitive examination for making their career. So when we talk about this particular subject, then we have to remember one thing, that when you are studying this subject, you have to remember very carefully that this requires involvement of your heart. And without involving your heart, you cannot score in this particular paper, or you cannot basically study this. Okay. Now let us see what ultimately we are going to study in this particular chapter. Let us just see. Right. Now, what is basically this topic is, and always invariably there is a question on it. You might be seeing in different papers, if you have seen that probity, it is always an integral component of what we call GS4. But before understanding that, we will have to understand what is the meaning of word integrity. Because integrity is directly connected with the concept of probity. And I have seen when I joined as SDM, from that post onwards, I was always under people's gauge. Whatsoever I was doing in my life, whether it's a private life or the public life, everything was being noticed about me. How I am walking, how I am making myself available to the people, how I am meeting the people, and most important, how my actions in respect to the very rich people, in contrast to the poor people, how those actions are being taken by me, whether I'm supporting poor people or whether I am mixing up with the richer section of the society. This is very, very important. And this emanates from the concept of integrity. You know, whenever ACRs of various civil servants are written, the concentration and the focus basically is on impeccable integrity. This is one most important assessment which is made of all the civil servants is impeccable integrity is there or not. So if you are not having the impeccable integrity, then you are sidelined. Then you will always be put on the posts which are not related to the people. So it means you have lost the game. And that's why the subject is not only important for the examination to score high marks, but it is also important to score good marks in other papers, because it makes you understand as to what has to be done in your life. So we can say that the integrity, when we talk about it, is a concept of always doing what is right and good. That is important. And what is the condition? Irrespective of the immediate consequences. I would like to give you one very small example of this. I was working in a very, very important department. So we were going to appoint information commissioners. So I was receiving all the applications for this particular post, information commissioner. You all know, RTI, under RTI Act, there is information commissioner, and information commissioners are appointed. So there was a last date. On that last date, all applications were received. Right. Suddenly, after 3-4 days, I received a phone call from a very, very high office that you have forgotten one application in your desk. I said, how it is possible? I can never do this. No application remains pending with me. And this is a computerized method. All the applications, as soon as they enter in my office, they are recorded. But that person said, no, you just check your drawer. I was scared, and I just opened and there was nothing was there. I said, but why are you making joke? He said, no, there is an application. There are the orders from very, very high place that this application has to be included, even when 2 days had already passed. I said, no, this cannot be done. And that office was of very, very high level. So when I was called in that office, when I was asked, Mr. Verma, if you want to serve peacefully, you will have to add this name. I said, sorry, I will not be able to do. So do you know what you expect after this? I said, okay, you will transfer me from this post, transfer me. Whatsoever you want to do, do. But I will not do this thing, because I have been fighting for such principles in my life from the very first posting of STM. They called Advocate General. He also told me, Mr. Verma, why can't you do it? The show is that it was pending in your drawer. Nothing bad in it. I said, what do you mean by this? The list is already published, and that too in RTI Act. And we are going to appoint ITI commissioner. It's a very, very serious consequence. And then they all forced me so much that I was in such a great stress that I was having a very severe headache at that particular time. I came down to my place. I had a good cup of coffee, and I thought, okay, let us see whatsoever happens. But you will be surprised that this thing pays in your life. Ultimately, nothing happened to me. They could not add that additional application to the list which I had already prepared and put on the website. So that is what integrity gives you strength in your career. So we can say, by going further deep, we can simply define it that doing right, this is the act of doing right, even when no one else is watching. That is the beauty. That no one is concentrating on you. You have to take a decision. And then whether you are taking a good decision, right decision or not, that is what integrity is. So basically, it makes us consistent in our approach. So we become very consistent because we are following the principles. So whenever in future we are taking any action, people will know that this person will not budge. So there is no point in pressurizing him. And then it will be a consistent approach in your life, in your career. Right? And you should understand one thing very, very important. Why it is known as integrity? It is known as integrity because it consists of integer. You know what is integer? Integer means it is not having any value after the decimal. It is not 1.1. It is not 0.8. It's whole number. So integrity means it makes you one, undivided, broken, unbroken, and complete. That is the strength of the word integrity. Right? It's very, very important to understand. Now let us see further when we move. Then you will further get what it is. So when I'm complete, when I'm unbroken in my thoughts, in my thinking, in my actions, then what happens basically? Integrity helps us to be accurate and truthful as interpreted by the word integer, right? Consequently, we can also say that the integrity cannot be fractured or divided. Either you are having integrity or not having integrity. There can't be a in-between path. Oh, I am partial honest. I am having partial integrity. So that is not possible. You are either having impeccable integrity or not having it. To further understand it, to get the clarity, the idea of dual morality is a very, very important concept, and it has appeared many times in the examination. There are many people who will take a particular stand on a specific issue. When they are in a particular group, they will take a decision, they will support a decision. But as soon as they get into another group, the circumstances are changed. So very conveniently, very, very conveniently, they will change their stand. And what can be that convenience? That can be a gift from someone. You have taken a decision. In a particular case, you are not consistent now. Someone is offering to you some type of gifts, and then you are changing the decision making. You are giving a different argument. You are giving a different justification. So that is the point which has to be remembered by you when we are talking about probity. And when you are writing the question's answer, then you should be sure whenever there is a question on probity, you have to indicate in your own words the basic concept that integrity means integer without any break, without any fracture. And that makes you very, very strong, right? So as a civil servant, when you are working in a public service or public circumstances, as leader, you have to prove yourself that your integrity is impeccable. Everyone is looking at you. And there are many officers who think, oh, I have done this thing, this mischief. I have taken money in this particular case. No one has seen me. So that officer is sadly mistaken. You should remember one thing in your life. Any person who is paying money to anyone will make it public, will tell to hundreds of people that I have paid so much of money to this officer. Right? And people will know that they can get their work done by paying money. Nothing can be worse than this. So your image gets damaged, and that is probity. How do people perceive you? That is probity. Okay, let us move further. With integrity, a civil servant becomes powerfully capable of developing trust. That is very important. If you are able to develop trust of people, suppose you are district collector and you develop trust of the persons, what happens then? Then you become a source of energy. People will come to you. They are sure that their problems will get resolved. They are sure that you will give a voice to their own deaf, situation. They are very poor. They cannot speak. So you will become their voice. And the team which you are leading will feel strength. A civil servant not having integrity has somewhere in existence the self-interest, and that just destroy his capacity to produce the desired results. When do you depart from integrity? When there is a self-interest involved in it. As soon as there is self-interest, it means you are trying to go away from the basic concept of your own existence. Your heart knows that you are doing wrong. Your brain understands that what you are doing, but you are outwardly trying to justify that whatsoever you are doing is okay. A strong example of this concept of trust connected with integrity is the God. This is very, very important. I am not saying God, Hindu God, Muslim God, any God. God means God. He sent us on this earth with his plans for us. Always knows, everyone knows that there is a plan finalized by the God for us. When we arrive in this world, we didn't know the world we are going to face. Nothing. Happiness, sorrows included. We are not knowing at all that when we grow, what will we be facing, where will we be going. But we trusted him. We trust the God that he will take care of us if we follow what he expects from us. This is the important thing. The lesson by this example is that we follow what he expects from us. See, he expects that we should lead a moral life. We should avoid vices. These vices are very, very dangerous. They cover the virtues, so we have to avoid them. In the similar way, we can reap the fruits of being consistent and trustworthy in generating best results as civil servant, even when we might not have best leadership skills. Right? This is important thing to be remembered. There are so many people who are not very efficient in their work. They are not able to produce the results which generally are expected. But they are respected a lot because they are consistent in their approach, they are consistent in decision making, and they are trustworthy. These qualities, they overshadow any other deficiency. That is the importance of integrity. Now, when we move further, then we can say that integrity, therefore, is an asset with the civil servant, the greatest asset. Forget about houses, cars, fridges, etc. Forget about it. When you grow in the service, you will suddenly find, oh, this is the greatest asset. And if I possess it, it never decreases. It defines what we are and how should we act. This is important. This basically defines what we are and how should we act. This is how we do what is right without bothering the consequences. The main theme here is that we are doing right without bothering for consequences. You are not scared, and then no one can touch you. And that's why this topic is very, very important for the civil services examination. How can a civil servant develop integrity? This is something which can be developed. This is not innate. This does not come from inside since birth. No, you can develop it. With a lot of hard work, you can really show to the people that no, I am a person with impeccable integrity. Come to me, you will get your work done. You're coming to my office, you want patta of your land, just submit the application and just come after 2 days and you will get the patta. That's what it is. So basically, how do we practice it? We practice this by learning the basic principles of integrity. So we learn the basic principles of integrity as we were just talking in the last slides, and then try to practice the principles. We might not be successful in the initial stages, but we have to practice these principles. And this, learning the principles and then attempting to practice them, that defines our integrity. So we should understand that what is our integrity? Our integrity is defined by the principles of integrity and how are we trying to practice them in our day-to-day life when we are working as civil servant. Once we are able to practice it with strength, then let us try and start acting accordingly. Although we know that there will be so many failures, there will be good successes also, there will be obstructions, there will be people who are opposing you. Oh, this person, he is trying to show that he is very honest. Let us teach him a lesson. But you should not be scared, because ultimately you will be winner. I have seen, I am the example here sitting with you. So you have to learn on our failures and build on our successes. So that makes you a very, very strong civil servant. Very strong civil servant. And that is the objective when you are joining this service. Okay, so let us move further. Then once you understand this concept, then let us try now to understand what actually the probity is. So you might be now understanding that there is a direct connectivity. There is a direct connectivity between the integrity and probity. You know, when you are, suppose there is a government vehicle given to, even if you are driving it yourself, people will observe that why is he doing it? And the government has provided driver, why is doing it? Even this small thing will be observed. And that will have a very negative impact on your existence. Right? Some people, when they join services, they bring few things from the office. And they say that, oh, I am developing an office in my residence. So you are bringing so many things. That is wrong. This cannot be done. So you are thinking that how does it make a difference when I will go on transfer to another post? I will deposit these things back. But as soon as you do it, people will think that you are not intending to return them. This will be the first presumption, remember it. The first presumption will not be that you will be returning it back to the office. The first presumption will be that you are ultimately going to take these things away. That is a very serious repercussion. Very, very serious thing. So, the concept of integrity, as explained earlier in the earlier slides, it gives a solid background to us to define probity. Now, let us understand it. We can define it as the complete and confirmed integrity, completely immersed in moral principles. So what I'm saying is, suppose there are morals. This, I will continuously be repeating this particular thing. Now in this moral, if you are submerging yourself, then what happens? As soon as you submerge yourself, then the greatest thing happens that all around you, there are morals floating. And they are always guiding you. They are always trying to take you on right path. So basically, the probity evolves as approved moral excellence and uprightness. So these are the two basic concepts which are attached to concept of probity. That is excellence and uprightness. If you are having excellence, moral excellence, then again, you should remember one basic concept which I will teach in the future lessons, that if there is a line, then below it there are two things. One, morals, and second is virtues. These morals and virtues ultimately, on experimentation for 100 years, 200 years, 500 years by the society observes, oh, these are the morals which are giving positive results. These are the virtues which are making people strong. So they ultimately take shape of ethics. So how ethics get generated? Morals and virtues. These morals and virtues, when they interact with each other, When they are tested by the people, by the society, they become general rules, general guidelines, and these are known as ethics. So, while developing ethics, the uprightness of a civil servant from the time immortal, this is being tested, and now this has been established that if you want to be a civil servant with probity, with high principles of probity, then it will give you excellence and uprightness. That is what is respected by people. The meaning given as above tells us that the probity basically encompasses all good values and virtues, that is evidence of ethical behavior. That is what I have tried to explain it here. Hindi meaning of probity is Satyanishtha. So this, if you remember in your mind, the Hindi knowing people, then I can tell you that you will understand this Satya Nishtha, that is belief in truthfulness, belief in integrity. Right? Let us move further. Then probity in governance, what does it mean? We have understood integrity. We have understood what is probity, the definition. And now let us see what is probity in governance. Now, probity in governance, whenever we talk, is an essential and vital requirement for efficient and effective system of governance and for socio-economic development. You know what happens? Suppose you are collector here, you are DM. Now, you are responsible for implementing various schemes. You are also responsible maintaining law and order, and at the same time you are running revenue administration. Now in this situation, why will other departmental officers who are implementing like irrigation, PWD, PhD, medical health department, the HODs, district HODs, why will they obey you? While during law and order situation, when the riot is taking place, why would people hear you when you reach amongst the masses? Why they will hear you? Why the people below you who are dealing with land records, revenue transactions, why will they be honest? They will look at you. So everyone is looking at you. How are you behaving? How you are basically taking the principles which you are propagating ahead. Whether there is a zero gap between the principles you propagate and the actions you take. So what is being talked about here is the gap between the propagation and actions. There are so many people who will talk about idealism, but when actually they are taking actions, it is a different thing, a different approach. So if civil servant is really willing and he is taking upon himself the task of socio-economic development, he has to follow the principles of probity in governance. Integrity, as we have seen, is an essential ingredient of the concept of probity in governance. Other required components. Now let us talk about the other required components. That is very, very important, but there are other components which are also important. That is effective laws, rules, regulations that govern every aspect of public life. So when there are rules, people know about these rules. And if they don't know, it's your duty to tell them what are the rules. And if you are taking every action in your life as civil servant as per rules and set principles, then you should understand that you will be seeking and you will be receiving a lot of support from the people, which I will show you later on how does it happen. In other words, the basic strength of probity lies in how does a civil servant acts, right? In most of the classes, in most of websites other than this particular site, that is Unacademy, you will find that most of the people have copied the concepts of probity, which are not actually the concepts. If you really see it deeply, this basically defines the basic strength as to how does a civil servant acts and behaves in public, and how much public trust he is able to generate in all sections of the society, especially those who are in the lowest rung of the ladder and are really surrounded by problems that need immediate attention of the government machinery. So what is being said here is, just think of it, just try to understand what we are basically thinking here. We are saying that whenever you are facing the masses, whenever you are facing the masses, and you choose the last people, last on the ladder. So this is my ladder. So the last persons who are not able to go up, there are already people who have occupied these higher rungs. They have already reached, I don't know where they want to reach, but they have reached at higher and higher level. But there are the people here. These are the people who cannot even go to the first rung. These are the people who are important for you. And if you are paying attention to these people, you should be sure that you are now being respected. You should not bother about as to, oh, this person is very important, politically important, this important, that important, so I should try to make him happy. Forget about him. Just remember that this person. My principle in my life, which has always given me a lot of strength, is that even if one person is helped by me in a month, in the real sense, then I feel very happy. And I still feel the blessings of God when I remember those people who always, generally meet me. Someone is coming on all the four limbs coming to my house. Someone is still lying on the bed somewhere in cancer hospital. So these blessings, they form a very important component of probity in governance. You have to resolve their problems. People should understand in the society that this officer is basically working for helping them, taking them above, and helping this particular person, the weaker person, to go up the rung. Okay, that is the thing. Now, if we move further, lesser the distance between what a civil servant preaches and what he practices in official and private life. Whenever we are talking about probity in the examination, remember it. It is not only the official life you should talk about. You should always try to write something about the private life also. So whether I am in the evening spending my time with nice people, playing games, having a walk, or I am spending playing cards with unscrupulous persons of the society, or I am involved in something else, then that destroys my power. That takes me at a very, very low level of the probity. So once what I am preaching for official and private life, the gap, if I am able to reduce the gap between that, then you should understand that you are setting up the higher standards of probity. And what will be the consequence? The consequence will be attaining the objectives of equitable social development of the society with great success. Accordingly, it becomes important to understand the 7 principles of public life as stated by Lord Nolan. These principles are applicable in all situational framework, and whenever you are writing answer, you should always make it a point that if you are not able to describe every one of these, choose few points and try to put in some of your sentences. Right? The first thing is selflessness. What is the meaning of selflessness? Whenever you are taking a decision, then always your decision should be directed towards the public interest. You should not take a decision which you are thinking will give you the financial gain or other benefits. Okay, so I have got this file. So I take a decision because this person is going to give me some money. So I will interpret the laws and rules according to my convenience now. So I have forgotten the public interest. Now I am basically working for my own interest. And this is the first thing, which starts destroying the lives and image of a civil servant. The second thing is integrity that we have already talked about. Third is objectivity. This is a very, very critical factor. In carrying out public business, including making public appointments, awarding contracts, civil contracts, or recommending individuals for rewards and benefits, the holders of the public office should make choice on merit. So, objectivity means making choices on merit. This relationship has to be shown by you in the answer. And when we talk about accountability, this you all should remember that throughout your career in civil services, you will be asked to be accountable. Accountable to whom? Accountable to the public, to the persons for whom you have to work, for whom you have to develop schemes, for whom you have to devote yourself, irrespective of what difficult situations you are required to face in attaining that goal. This is very, very critical. And once we go in for openness, what does it mean? This is basically, you should be always and always give reasons and restrict information. They should always, try to only when the public interest clearly demands. And this gives birth to RTI. So what is being said here is that when we talk about openness, the major principle of public life, it simply means that we should not restrict information flow to the public. And if you try to do that, it should be directly having an implication for public interest. Okay. Honesty. What is the difference between honesty and integrity then? Honesty is different, integrity is different, probity is different. So what is the difference between honesty and integrity? Honesty is very, very simple thing. When I am honest and I have done something wrong, I will come and tell my collector, tell my commissioner, sir, I have committed this mistake. I am responsible for that. That is your honesty. So again, this is coming from inside and then making you understand that if I remain honest with myself, right, then I will be able to resolve any conflicts. Because people know that this is the person who will always accept what actually is happening wrong or what mistakes have been committed by him. This is a very, very important thing which we are talking. Similarly, the leadership, generally, we think leadership means leadership. You are a leader of a team, so you are a leader, a good leader. But when you are studying the GS4 paper, that is ethics paper, then here you should understand that you have to basically give an example as being a good leader. So what is the meaning of good leader? It means you are practicing probity. Practicing probity means your behavior, your actions, your decisions are beyond questioning. So decisions beyond questioning. So with this, now we see what are the objectives of probity in governance. It's very simple now. You can understand because we have seen all these points. So it becomes very interesting. So ensure accountability naturally, to maintain integrity. We are just converting it on all what we have just studied into simple sentences. To ensure compliance with the processes, to preserve public confidence in government processes, and to avoid the potential for misconduct, fraud, and corruption. So all these things together, they lead us on a path of probity in governance. Right. Now, when we talk about, when we have talked about these principles, the concepts, then how does a civil servant behave if he wants to really show the people that he is the person, he is the civil servant for you? Then he should be accountable. He should feel himself accountable. He should always work very transparently. He should be responsive to the people. If some people are coming to meet him even at his residence at 12 o'clock in the night, he should not hesitate. He should come out because there might be someone who is in dire need of help. That's why at this late night he is coming to a place. So always you have to instruct your police guards which are placed in your house. I have seen it. So many times I have found that these people, they will not allow. साहब सो रहे हैं, साहब अभी आराम कर रहे हैं. अरे, this is the duty of the sahab to work for the poor people. You are posted there only for that. That is probity. That you have to be equitable with everyone. You should try to include all sections of the society in decision making when there is some decision which is affecting the people at large. Basically, people at large. Okay, then you have to be effective and efficient, follow the rules of law. You have to be participatory. What does it mean? Whenever you are taking a decision for implementation, because most of the decisions are taken at planning level or policy level, that is the government. But when you are at lower level in the field, so you are implementing. Basically, you are monitoring the implementation. Now, when you are planning the strategy, when you are planning a strategy for implementation, then you should try to involve all stakeholders. Then all stakeholders should be involved. Okay, and then obtain their consensus. So when you are doing all these acts together, you are moving towards a probity surrounded life as civil servant. This has to be remembered for the examination. Now let us move further. Let us see. Now, what are the necessary measures to ensure probity? Now there are certain negative measures and there are certain positive measures. Let us first see what are the sanctions. Whenever we are talking about sanctions in the paper of ethics, then it means there are the restrictions. Sanctions means restrictions. So first thing is strict enforcement of Benami Transaction Act. This is a major source of corruption by the civil servants. As my experience goes, I can very strongly tell you this thing. This is a major cause of concern for the society. And the second is misfeasance. If you don't want to use this word, use this sentence, very, very simple sentence. Failure to discharge public obligations existing by common law, customs, or a statute. Law. Statute is basically law, acts. Okay, so if there is a person who is not following rules, regulations, and a statute, then he should be punished. That is a special measure to ensure probity. The public servant should be held personally responsible for their malefied acts. If you write this thing in the examination in the answer, when describing the probity, which no one will write, I'm telling you. Because while studying the concept of probity, these things are not generally taught. The public servants have lot of discretionary powers, and in some cases, in the field of distribution of government wealth, what do you mean by distribution of government wealth? Can you understand it? What I am trying to say? The good answer will be that government wealth in terms of contracts, in terms of mines allotment, in terms of allotment of the places, giving contracts on PPP mode, handing over the airports, handing over the roads, all these things. So when we are transferring this wealth, it should be very well defined in a transparent manner. If a public servant abuses his office, either by an act of omission or commission, then the consequence of that is injury to an individual or loss of property, and action may need to be taken against such public servant. What is the meaning? What is being attempted to tell here is that a public servant should not be allowed to say that you may set aside an order on the ground of malafide, but you cannot hold me personally responsible. So what is important thing in this paragraph is, suppose I have involved myself in some corrupt practice. I have given some decision. Someone goes to the court. Court says, no, this is a wrong decision you have taken. This decision is set aside. But that government official, he is getting away without any action against him. So what is being suggested here is that if it is always made a principle that that officer would be personally held responsible for his misdeeds, then only we shall be able to ensure probity. Okay? Now, next point is confiscation of illegally acquired assets of public servants under Prevention of Corruption Act. Now this has been made the rule that in case some people are caught red-handed, involved in corruption, then their properties can be seized by the government. Another very important tool is Right to Information Act. I am not discussing these things in details because these will be the separate chapters, separate lessons which I will be delivering you in the live classes here. Then the citizen charters, then automated grievance redressal mechanism, public hearing, that is Jan Sunwai, and Lokpal or Lokayukt institution. So these are the measures which are there to ensure that you are following the probity in your official duty. But this is a question. I want to make it a point here that these are all external things. But when I started my class, when I started my lecture, I told you that this has to come from within yourself. So you have to behave in such a manner that all these things which are written here are not required to be put under the sphere of implementation. You yourself should present yourself in the society in such a manner that they accept you, they develop trust in you. This public hearing is a very, very strong tool. And I made it a point, when I was additional chief secretary, I made it a point that all officers, including collectors in the district, collectors used to feel very shy. Why should we go in the night and sit with the people and hear their problems? But I told them this is the real way. This is the real way of getting the information, helping the people, hearing their issues. Then only they will come to you. When you are calling them to their office, they're restricted. The entry is restricted. You cannot give them time. So directly you go and sit with them. That will prove that you are following the path of probity. This is one of the collector. There's one of the collector, very, very bright collector. This night, he has gone to the village. And now he is hearing the issues, grievances, problems of all the people. So all the district level officers are sitting for different departments, PWD, irrigation, PhD, medical, all officers are sitting. He is ADM, he is CO Jila Parishad. So everyone is sitting here. So this is the way we can show that yes, we are caring for you. So now these people, just see their eyes, just see their attention. So they are understanding, they are talking to each other that this is the person who will really hear our voice. So let us make them understand what are the issues in our area, what are the problems in our area, who are the people who are not allowing the implementation of government activities which are meant for the poor people. That is the probity. This is the probity. Right? Let's move further. So what does it result? Basically, what does the probity results? Probity in governance, basically, it develops lot of trust and respect for that particular officer. This is the most important thing. That probity in governance basically develops lot of trust and respect. And what happens after this? Information flow starts. People will tell you from remote villages, sir, this person is doing wrong. Sir, this road is being constructed but the very poor quality material is being used. Sir, this building is being constructed but the contractor is not putting cement in this. Sir, these two groups are fighting with each other. There is a possibility of law and order. So you will come to know about the information which will flow to you after the event happens. So there is a forewarning which reaches you. This because of the probity in governance. You will not find anywhere these things written. These are the original things based on my personal experience. Remember it. Then you get a control over implementation. As collector or as divisional commissioner or HOD, you cannot go to all the projects. So if you make the people understand that you are for them, so they will understand that the money which is being spent by the government, the money which is being spent by the government for giving benefits to the needy is really being spent rightly or not. Then if you are really leading a probity situation and probity strength, then the grievance redressal becomes very, very important. And I can tell you, I will just show you a slide where this grievance redressal only, you hear the people, you come to know about their problems, and that will give you the process re-engineering of the schemes. Suddenly you will notice, oh, these are the faults. If these are removed, we can implement these schemes in a better way. So that is what is given by probity. So you ultimately start making need-based plans for the local areas depending upon the funds available. Right? Moreover, the public starts trusting you, and then they are not hesitant in giving money to you for doing PPP projects, public-private partnership projects. And that is something which, according to me, shows the success of that particular officer who is posted in a place. When people are able to give you money, when they are ready, sorry, when they are ready to hand over you money, that you implement these schemes, add this money with government funds and implement. Okay. Now, here are some things which I want to tell. Why we should go in for probity. This basically takes you to the good governance principles. This is the person, for whom I have to work, for whom this probity concept is being taught, only for this person. This is the person whom you always have to keep in your mind. Citizen first. Citizen first has to be a motto, and that comes out from the probity. And by doing this, you will be expanding social opportunities. Poverty removal will be easier, which is a very, very difficult task. And you will be empowering people. Right to information. And another thing which I want to mention here, which if you write in the examination, you will secure huge, huge number of marks, far, far ahead of others. What is right to receive? There is no law for this. There is a concept which I thought is very important to be told to you. Whenever people are coming to your office to talk about their problems, their grievances, so they are giving you an application. If that application is thrown somewhere, if it goes to the dustbin, or if it is not promptly handled, there is no point of these people like him coming to your office. So he should necessarily get a receipt of the complaint with which he is coming to your office. That receipt, that receipt will always have a huge power within himself. He can come and he can show you, sir, I had come to a place. This is the receipt of the application which I had given you. What has happened? Just look at my eyes. That is probity. Right. Now let us see. Whenever we are talking about good governance, when we are trying to ensure good governance, then there are basically three components. The government, people, and civil society. This is basically assembly. These are the people, there's one old market, old people when there were no cars, nothing. And these are the people, who are having, this elephant as their symbol on their flag. And these are all aristocracies. So this is how we have to basically resolve, how we have to tame this elephant. This is the elephant which is trying to crush the poor and weak in the society. And if we are following the probity principles, we shall certainly be successful in taming this elephant. This is our janta. This is our janta. Now this elephant, although we call it white elephant, it is looking dark here, the gray color. But this is basically troubling the people for whom he has to work. So this is the real concept of probity, that whether we can tame the elephant. That is, can we tame the ground level, cutting level administration, which is putting the people in trouble? That is the real thing. That is the real concept of probity. And I would like to further make you understand. This is one of the incidents which I faced. This dealer of FPS shop, I had gone, this is a very interior village. When I said that, I want to check your PDS shop. So he said, sir, my POS machine is not working. This is the POS machine here, placed here, because there is no signal coming. So I said, okay, you go to the roof of your building. He went to the roof, but he said, no, sir, still the signals are not coming. Then I told, okay, you go to this temple. Temple is very high. I said, you just go here and jump from this place. I said, I am a student of physics, and as soon as you will jump, you will get better signals. Immediately said, no, sir, now the signals are coming. There were hundreds of people who were standing and watching this. Then I checked his stock. There were so many irregularities, and then people pounced upon me. So this is wrong being done by the. We are not getting wheat. We are not getting sugar. We are not getting kerosene. But that comes only with probity. That people will have faith that you will take action. I will just. This is another example where I had gone. There were so many toilets which were constructed, and the collector and all other persons. This is when I was additional chief secretary recently. So when I just opened few of these toilets which were constructed, there was nothing inside. Are you observing? There's nothing. I was so frustrated. I was so hostile that day. Someone clicked this photograph, and I thought, let me make you understand what probity takes you to. People just start coming to you. They start telling you. They develop trust in you. And you become a real civil servant. That is probity strength. Right? And then in the last, I would like to give you this example. This is the packet which is supposed to be given to expectant mothers, and this is supposed to be having all proteinaceous things: gram, soya bean, sugar, oil. Then it is roasted and it is given to the mother. It's a very nutritious thing. But at one place, this is me, standing here. At one place when I went there, it is supposed to be 950 kgs or 950 grams. But when I measured it, it was only 450. So where was 500 grams going? But these people, they brought these things to my knowledge, and I rushed to that place. They sent me the information, said, today you come if you want to check, and then you will find the real things. Then ultimately I had to check, basically order for checking all PDS, so all Anganwadi centers. And there was a huge scandal which was repealed. So this is the strength of the probity, that people themselves, they will inform you how the implementation is happening in the field. Okay, so this is what I wanted to discuss with you today. And tomorrow onwards, or the next class, we shall talk about how to prepare for the exam and the different classes, different topics. We shall cover all important topics in coming weeks and coming months till the examination. I am very sure you have enjoyed this class and you have learned a lot. And you can always join the classes on Unacademy Plus platform also. There is a very intensive stage where you can directly interact and you can learn a lot. But here I am very sure that you have enjoyed it and it has made you clear on the concept of probity, not that which is generally existing on different sites. This is what really is probity. This is what you get when you follow the principles of probity in your life. So thank you very, very much. And we shall meet soon in the next class. Good night.